Hey guys, I'm over here. Yeah, hi. Doing things a little differently this time around, because I was on my phone earlier and I got this alert that something was slowly coming into our planet's atmosphere. And you're not going to believe what it is. I don't think this is something you can make up with alcohol, but maybe with a bit of cocaine. As World Championship Wrestling was starting to ride high with the New World Order and reigning supremely over the Monday Night Wars, they must have felt they could take on anything. Even, well, you know the cliche. WCW vs. the World was the first WCW game on the PS1. You'd be wrong to think it was the very first WCW game, as there were 3 already released on Nintendo platforms. But it was the first game to have involvement from THQ as publisher and the Man Breeze as developer. The Man Breeze was the original name for Aki Corporation, and I would just like to know how and why they were known as such. It was released technically on September 13th, 1996 in Japan, while North America and Europe got it in March and December of 1997 respectively. Support goes up to 2 players, and the ESRB rated it KA for kids to adults. That's going old school right there. I have no idea what this logo is supposed to represent, if it's a piece of concrete or earth, but that is what short-haired Crow Sting has in his hands. Behind him are some stills of Lex Luger, Jericho getting put in the walls by Benoit, Eddie Guerrero receiving the diamond cutter from DDP, and Hollywood Hogan is blocked off by this official NBA sticker, which kinda had me worried for a sec that this wasn't the real box, but a quick look at the spine puts my worries to rest. The back touts how hot the wrestling action is, highlighting the stars, though keeping the screenshot small in order to squeeze in the fact that you can play as 15 of your favorite WCW superstars, as well as 60 other wrestlers. Wow. They got the whole world in their hands, they got the whole damn world. In their hand, they got the whole world in their hands. They had the world in their hands. I'm already worried that we may not be getting something good as we get a package of highlights from WCW's programming as opposed to gameplay. I have a theory that good wrestling games of this period will show you the graphics as they're proud and confident of their work, while others that do this may not be so proud and have something to hide. It's only a theory right now, let's hope it doesn't become fact. Exhibition is where we start, and the roster is full of Southern and Oriental beef. It's worth noting that WCW vs. the World was localized from the first Virtual Pro Wrestling game, which Asmik Ace published, so now my confidence has boosted knowing the best tag team of wrestling gaming companies were involved, but that explains why there's all these wrestlers that you won't recognize from the brand or by name. All of them are based on or are real wrestlers that have or were working in Japan at the time, but their names couldn't be used in this version due to licensing restrictions, so that's why Scott Norton is Billy Gaijin, Jushin Thunder Liger is Abispa, and Ken Shamrock is Sherlock. I didn't know Shamrock worked in Japan, but it doesn't surprise me either. And can you imagine if he had a detective gimmick? Some of these names are funny too. Look at this. 200 wins should go against Dean Malenko and his 1,000 holds. Siberia. You're telling me the whole country looks like that? Good to know, I suppose. Somebody inadvertently predicted the future, and I think I'm the first one to notice. Who the hell is Overdose? Oh, come on, not Hog, that's fucked up. What a rush. Enough fooling around. I've decided to pick Bad Blood because he looks bad-ass, as the Great Muta should, and I'll go against the Great Suzuki, otherwise known as Black Ninja. There are a lot of blacks... No, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that! No need for entrances, so we're going straight into the match. And I somehow already know this isn't gonna go well for me. Controls are like this: X is for punching and kicking, triangle is for running, square is for blocking, and circle is for holds or grapple moves. Using it and the directional buttons can result in different moves in your arsenal, but I'm not having the best start as Suzuki didn't want to do business with me. Suzuki had my number. Either that or the AI is just really good at countering to the point where it's getting really annoying. You can do counters by hitting square and X together, but I couldn't pull it off myself, so I tried to use the confusion method of gaining distance to figure out a plan of attack. Whoa, how'd I do that? That could be effective, let's do it again. Alright, I know how to do it now. Now let's just get him a little closer. A little more. A little more. And now. I'm getting sandbagged. The constant blocking and countering just got me more and more agitated that I had to check the options again to make sure it was at an appropriate difficulty, which it was. And while we're here, the options don't have much to toggle with. No surprises for being an early PS1 wrestling game. I will say as I start round 2 that the presentation is decent for the time, the movements look nice, and the crowd is there, but the moves I can pull off is still minimal, and that's not without lack of trying. I was able to get a little offense in this time around, but the moves I was able to use was small. So small, in fact, that my opponent was getting the upper hand in spirit. You do have a spirit meter that goes from red to white as you do more complex moves, but my lack of doing such just made my opponents go up. But I tried to build mine by taunting with L2 or using my special move with R2, which is a super kick, the common move for every wrestler today, like the DDT. It didn't help much as I lost in complete defeat. Alright, I can't settle for this. It's rematch time. As I keep playing, I see more of how much these controls are just miserable. I cannot get used to this scheme for the life of me, and I don't know how to even pin. I also notice that some moves aren't connecting, mostly when an opponent is down on the mat and getting back up, or the computer is just blocking and countering and I lasted longer, but I still lost again. A crushing defeat? I'll show you a crushing defeat. Oh my god, that was a shit show. Knowing how this controls, I'm not looking forward to playing any more of this. But I suppose I have a job to do, and it's better than working in WWE, or anywhere else for that matter. We'll start with the elimination match and try the Versus League type, where you can select a group of 5 wrestlers to go against another 5 and see who can win the most matches. Faction on faction warfare. That'll be WCW in the future. And it's classic WWF-ish. I chose my faction to be all masked wrestlers while my opponents were these randos on the bottom. Like I said, you compete in one-on-one matches based on the order of your faction and see who can rack up the most wins out of 5. It may seem appealing, but then you remember how unfun it is to play this. The AI is still able to block or counter your every move. He even does the same shitty camel clutch, and I can't even get a fucking lick in with this crappy controls. And I'm done. I can't take this anymore. I'm sorry. I may be full of something, but it ain't shit. But that's what this game is. I can't continue to play this game with these controls and conditions. They're all just dreadful. The moves seem to have little effect even when you are building up spirit, and the moveset you have is small too, that it's just repetitive. Hell, if I'm having issues playing against an AI on normal mode, that's already showing how screwed up this game is. I may be a stiff now, but if I can't do the same thing the computers do without fail, there's a problem, and it isn't me, cause I'm perfect unlike you filthy animals. Honestly, why would I want to continue to play a game that has given me nothing in return? It's games like this that make me want to get high. But that might still be illegal in some states. Luckily, there's a legal alternative. What? Were you expecting me to do more? Well, there's nothing else besides options, which we already looked at briefly, and there's no chance in hell I'm playing any more of this garbage. But if you are still curious about the other match types remaining, I'm just going to run through them real quick based on their descriptions in the game. Tournament is what you think it is. League match is kind of the same but point-based. Double title match is champion versus champion. League challenge is like a story mode where you fight for all the titles. And best of 7 is some more tourney BS.
It's the only way I'm gonna get through this video.
WCW vs. the World was somehow praised positively in its day. I guess there wasn't anything like it at the time, but in retrospect, some have come to view it in a negative light, and I say shamefully so. Luckily, the gameplay of Akiasmic Ace games would only get better with the new entries, but the WWF would get the better renditions, while WCW would plummet after Revenge. Virtual Pro Wrestling would get 2 more entries on the Nintendo 64, them too having Western counterparts. We'll have a look at those soon enough, but I know for a fact they'll be a much better experience than this fucking game. This fucking game has brought me right back down to earth and reminded me that for every good WCW game, there are more bad ones lingering about in the depths. It's kind of the same thing when you're talking about the promotion and its good and bad years. Sure, there was the NWO and Sting in '97, but then there's WCW in the year 2000. I think what gets me the most is this is a bad game that Akiasmic Ace made, but I guess even the big boys have their off days. I don't know if I'm more surprised or disappointed with this game. It's just an overall mix of emotions not helped by the liquid I'm consuming. But the facts remain that the control is just terrible, far off from what Aki would create and be infamous for in other games. It's clear it needed to be refined and done better, but hindsight is truly 2020. There are other underlying problems too, with the moveset being low and poor, the AI can counter like there's no tomorrow, and the roster, though large, is still lackluster for my taste. If I was buying this game back when it released, I know I'd be pissed off to not see more WCW representation and wondering who the fuck the unknown is. It may look nice, but it's not fun to play. You can do better, but you can also do much worse. And I dread the day when I have to look at the worst, whichever one that may be. To all the fans of this game, I don't believe you exist, and you ought to find a different game to leech onto because nostalgia is hella blind. It being one of the worst games I've played yet earns it 1.5 stars. The extra half star is for the polygons and to not piss off viewers completely, but it still sucks. Hello?
Alex, great news! The WCW logo veered off course and it's gonna miss hitting the Earth.
Really? Damn, I missed it.
Well, it's not over. A small fragment is still heading our way. Look out the window.
God, please, no. 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 No.